we need to be more efficient. I mean, let's put that down. We need to be more efficient. We need to collect our taxes, and we need to spend money on improving efficiency. Again, I mean, one of the problems, this whole digitization of government services is a time it needs to happen, and we need to move and spend money in those directions so that we get over that hump. Whatever it takes, it requires a designated team, it requires designated funding. The population needs to say, I want this. I need to say, we want it. The government needs to say, I'm going to do it over a 3-year period with a plan, and somebody holds the government accountable, and we get across that. We need to be able to know, it is basic information. I have this person as a citizen, they are accessing 5 or 6 grants from the service, from the social services. These are the ones that they are getting, and we know who we are giving. And we might be able to even assist the poor in being able to get grants that they are not getting. So this is not only a way to prevent people from getting, but it's also a way to make whatever you are doing, make it more accessible to all. So that needs to happen. We need to then improve our revenue. So revenue authority, we just have to do it. It is not right, it is not fair, however you want to structure it. It's not right, it's not fair for over 200,000 taxpayers to be getting away not paying taxes. It means therefore that those of us who pay, we have to pay too much because they are getting services that somebody else is paying for, because economics, somebody pays. There's no free lunch. And therefore, we need to improve that. Right? We need to start to explore, as you said. I mean, people talk about diversification, and we hear the word over and over. But I mean, of course, one of the times to diversify is when you have money, because it's a little bit more difficult to diversify when you are trying to make 2 ends meet. There are times in this country that we went through, and we had a lot of money, and we didn't spend the type of focus on diversification that we should have. And now people are talking diversification. Put a full stop. Let's stop the blaming game. We got to then go back, and we need to start to look at where we are. COVID has shown us that there are certain things that we have that we need to improve. So we have to look at agriculture. We have to look at agriculture from a point of view of getting technology into agriculture. All right? We don't need all this land that is required, and we need to get and encourage the private sector to get into agriculture and also use the technology in agriculture. I mean, we use aquaculture, and we have all these different ways that we don't need land anymore. And let's encourage and let's determine what are the type of products that we should be getting involved in, and then do them. When we look at, and we need to time the demands that we have obvious demands. We produce something like about 82,000 lunches every day for in the school feeding program. We feed the prisoners, we feed cabinet, we feed members in our legislature, all right? We feed a number of areas gets lunches. So I will estimate that we produce about 120,000 lunches as a government that we pay for. We need to tie that into our agriculture sector somehow, and determine what should be the means that people should be using, and determine how much carrots and how much cabbage do we need to do that. Put a structure in place and make sure those things happen. It's a good idea, and it is something that we need to decide that it needs to happen, and we need to start to put the things in place to make it happen, because we stay at this point. And when I looked at the last report from the school feeding program, I was amazed at the lack of integration that has happened over the years between that sector or that school feeding program and the agriculture sector. And on both sides, you hear people speaking, well, we need the demand to push the supply. And then the demand people say, well, I need to know I can get the supply if you want me to demand it. There are ways to fix that, and we just need to apply and do it. And then
how would you respond to those who suggest, okay, what you're saying is making sense. But the administration of which you were recently a part has been within holding the reins of power for the last 4.5 years. And not a lot of that has happened. And now, of course, the government is going to ask for another 5 years. What is the track record of being able to make these things happen?
You know, because you see, there is no, a lot of times too, what we're looking for this one silver bullet, all right? And yes, the government that I've been a part of might not have focused on that because they were focusing on other things. So the Minister of Agriculture, there's a myriad of problems that exist. So there are a number of issues that you need to address. So for example, one of the issues in agriculture, and one of the success stories of this particular government has been the whole idea of land tenancy. And people had spoken about the fact that you are on land, I don't have ownership for the land, I can't raise money, and because I have no ownership, then I can't go to the bank and mortgage the land, and therefore there is no money getting into agriculture. And therefore I can't invest in the technology. So what I just gave you was a problem. Now that you have the land, and I'm saying let's use technology, now you will be able to mortgage your land to get into technology. It wasn't possible before because you needed to go about, when you looked at the amount of land, the amount of people into agriculture, and they didn't have the ownership of the land or proper leases, then that was the problem. So the government worked a lot, and this minister worked a lot in getting that area fixed. But now you need to take it to the other level. And now you also need to put structures to ensure that those people who got the land, that they are actually cultivating the land as they want to, right? So that again is a little bit of policing and structure. So it's not just one fix, it's a series of things that needs to happen. But you need to be focused on where you're going. So that's the answer for that particular area. I mean, and then there are other areas that we need to start to look at. We need to look at new industries. I mean, in the budget debate, not much discussions were held about it, but it's one thing that the Minister of Finance spoke about, the hydrogen economy. And that's a new area, a new growth area, a new metropole that a lot of the big oil companies, BP talked about it, is about $150 billion industry. And therefore, we in Trinidad, Point Lisas, probably there's a role for us to play there because we have a lot of the components. So we need to start to look at possibilities like that and spend some time in carving out future areas. There's green hydrogen, there's blue hydrogen. And therefore, how do we link the hydrogen economy with our natural gas, save some natural gas, export more natural gas? Those are possibilities. All right, renewable energy, I agree. It is something that we need to look at. It's something that has come up within its time because we need to encourage, as we attempt to improve the efficiency of the country and better utilize the natural gas that we have. We need to invest money in innovation.